The Xiaomi 17 Ultra Leica edition is officially arriving in the UK and across Europe on February 28th. But today we're focusing on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra itself. And like always, let's jump straight into the downsides first. A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from techmaiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our exciting tech content. To be fair, the standard U17 Ultra doesn't really have any fatal flaws. Most of the serious complaints actually come from the Leica edition. I need to stress this again. If your focus control ring feels loose, then it's simply a loose ring. That comes down to manufacturing tolerances. Xiaomi's official explanation sounds a bit stretched, especially when some users receive tight rings while others got loose ones. Does that mean a tight ring is defective? Of course not. If yours is loose and it bothers you, just return it. Don't turn it into a conspiracy. The more noise people make, the more complicated these issues become next time. There have also been reports of misaligned optical axes on certain zoom lenses, which can cause ghosting around the edges when shooting distant subjects. Some of my fellow tech bloggers ran into this too. If you want to check your own device, switch to 400mm, find a faraway static object like a billboard with text, hold the phone steady, and snap a shot. Zoom in and check the edges. If you see ghosting, that likely means the optical axis isn't aligned properly. This year's Xiaomi 17 series has noticeably fewer bugs. I used it as my main phone for 2 weeks and only ran into 3 issues. One system crash and one strange fingerprint icon positioning glitch in Alipay. While the bug itself was odd, the overall stability is much better than HyperOS 1 and 2. Major bugs are now rare. One hardware improvement I really appreciate is the NFC coil placement. It's finally been moved slightly upward from the center, making payments more convenient. That said, it's still not as effortless as the top-mounted NFC solution on the Find X8 Ultra. In terms of wireless transfer speeds, Xiaomi has finally caught up. Peak speeds now reach around 153 megabytes per second, which is competitive. For the display, Xiaomi introduced Super Pixel technology. Although the resolution is technically lower, in real-world use, the detail doesn't look much different from a standard 2K panel. During testing, manual full-screen white brightness reached 675 nits, and in-app full-screen white hit 178 nits. To be honest, that's not exceptionally high, but overall visual quality remains strong. The only real debate is the DET display's fine detail rendering. The included P-Tech Gold soft film is surprisingly good. The touch layer feels smooth, installation is easy, and thankfully we're finally done with messy UV tempered glass protectors. Xiaomi's ultrasonic fingerprint sensor also works very well with tempered glass, which is a big plus. Battery life testing gave some unusual results. Under 5G plus 95% Wi-Fi conditions, results varied by more than 2 hours. The longest session lasted 7 hours and 48 minutes, while the shortest was just 5 hours and 17 minutes. I'm not the only one seeing this inconsistency. With heavier 5G usage, around 85% 5G and 20% Wi-Fi, the battery lasted about 5 hours and 56 minutes. As for the charger, Xiaomi no longer has the advantage it once did. Huawei has already moved to compact white wall chargers starting from the Nova 14, while Xiaomi is still shipping larger traditional bricks. So that's the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. Fewer bugs, some meaningful hardware tweaks, but still lagging behind competitors in system intelligence and refinement. As one of the biggest names in the Android world, Xiaomi honestly should have caught up in a few of these areas by now. On paper, the charging specs look solid. 90 watts wired charging and 50 watts wireless charging. But compared to the previous generation, where wireless charging peaked at 80 watts, this is actually a step down. In real-world testing, with the original 100-watt wired charger, the highest power draw hit 76 watts. It reached 51% in 20 minutes, and a full charge took 62 minutes. The good news is that the annoying bug we saw on the Xiaomi 17 Pro, where full-speed charging sometimes wouldn't activate, didn't show up here. So it seems that issue has finally been fixed. For wireless charging, we tested Xiaomi's latest 80-watt stand-style charger. Peak power reached 57 watts. In 20 minutes, the phone charged to 42.2%, and a full charge took 98 minutes. That's definitely moving in the right direction. Since we're serious about wireless charging tests, we also tried several older Xiaomi wireless chargers. With the 100-watt peak wireless charger, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra reached 29% in 20 minutes. The 80-watt charger got it to 26%. The older 55-watt model hit 30%, and the 50-watt Pro charger reached 32%. Here's the strange part. None of these older wireless chargers can fully charge the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. That's where things start to get confusing. The newer models didn't adopt special small battery charging tech, so if older chargers like the 55-watt don't fully work, maybe that's understandable. But even the 50-watt Pro charger from just a couple of years ago can't properly complete a charge. What's the logic behind that? On the bright side, wired reverse charging has been upgraded to 22.5 watts, which is at least a small improvement. Performance-wise, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra is powered by this year's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen5. We immediately put it through a demanding 5G gaming test, running at 3P resolution and excluding the absolute highest mouse-level graphics settings. Throughout the entire session, there were no obvious stutters or major frame drops, although the screen brightness gradually dimmed over time. After 30 minutes, the average frame rate was 59.2 FPS. Honestly, I was shocked. The gaming performance was so strong that I double-checked all the settings and ran the test again. This time, the average frame rate climbed to 59.5 FPS, which is seriously impressive. For comparison, when we tested the Xiaomi 17 Pro under the same conditions, it performed terribly. We retested it just to be sure, and it still averaged only 46.3 FPS. So now we can confidently say the Xiaomi 17 Ultra delivers significantly better gaming performance than the 17 Pro. If you're a gamer, this flagship is absolutely worth considering. We bought the 16GB plus 512GB version with our own money, using the default 6GB virtual memory. In testing, it took 48 seconds to launch all apps, which is a solid result. With 18 apps open simultaneously, every single one stayed alive in the background. Even after locking the screen under heavy load, all 18 apps remained active. Interestingly, it performed better in this stress test than the Xiaomi 17 Pro with the same 16GB of RAM. In daily use, overall smoothness feels better than my previous 17 Pro. Maybe the cooler weather helped, but minor frame drops still happen occasionally. For example, when pulling down the search bar or returning to the home screen after taking a photo, I sometimes notice slight stutters. And just to be clear, all of these conclusions are based on system version 3.0.10.0. If future updates introduce negative optimizations, I'm not responsible for that. Now let's talk about cameras. First, lens coating. We compared it with last year's flagships, the Oppo Find X8 Ultra and Vivo X200 Ultra. The Xiaomi 17 Ultra still shows the most noticeable lens ghosting among the three, even worse than the Find X8 Ultra, which didn't heavily promote its coating technology. The headline feature this time is the variable focal length telephoto. Variable zoom itself isn't difficult, and Xiaomi has implemented similar concepts before. The key question is whether the CMOS sensor gets cropped when changing focal lengths. We tested multiple focal lengths, including 75mm, 85mm, 90mm, and extended ranges. In photography circles, there's an old saying that even basic prime lenses can outperform high-end zoom lenses when it comes to light control. So we compared the Xiaomi against competitors using different lens approaches. In bright conditions, the Find X8 Ultra delivered slightly better resolution than the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, while the X200 Ultra trailed behind. Moving to more challenging night scenes at 75mm, the X200 Ultra's color temperature was way off. Zooming into details, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra actually showed the weakest resolution among the group. Pushing further to around 170mm equivalent focal length, the Find X8 Ultra still maintained stronger detail. Only the X8 Ultra could clearly resolve certain fine characters like the number 3. At that range, some Samsung devices are already digitally cropping their telephoto output. Interestingly, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra retains the largest effective sensor area at 1/2.68 inch, compared to 1/2.86 inch on the X8 Ultra and 13.16 inch on the X200 Ultra. Its telephoto aperture is also larger than Oppo's 6x telephoto. So on paper, Xiaomi has the strongest hardware, but in real-world resolution tests, it still falls short of Oppo. That strongly suggests the telephoto algorithm needs improvement. The telephoto's closest focusing distance is 30 centimeters, which is actually worse than the Xiaomi 15 Ultra and roughly in line with competitors. In backlit scenarios, the telephoto sometimes struggles to lock focus. I tried repeatedly and couldn't get consistent focus in certain scenes, while competitor devices handled it without issue. So to summarize the telephoto, hardware is powerful, but software optimization needs serious work. At this point, Xiaomi could at least study how competitors handled it in their previous flagships. The main camera uses a 1-inch 1050L sensor and operates without cropping. However, there's still no variable aperture. It seems Xiaomi abandoned it. And just to clarify, variable aperture technology isn't blocked by patents. It's been around for over a century. The stepless mechanical aperture on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra was actually more advanced in hardware than Huawei's organic-style variable aperture, right? Without variable aperture, large sensors and wide apertures can lead to soft edges in certain still shots due to shallow depth of field. That said, main camera performance across major brands is very similar and more than good enough for everyday documentation. But I did notice occasional algorithm failures. In one scene, I took 3 photos and only one automatically triggered night mode. That's inconsistent. Food photography, however, has improved significantly. At least Xiaomi no longer applies that heavy, exaggerated BBC-style filter to food shots. Ultra-wide cameras this year are generally unimpressive across brands. The results often look messy and unpleasant. Among them, the X200 Ultra clearly performed the best. For video recording, it's fine for personal memories. But if you rely on your phone professionally, the iPhone still holds the advantage. There's also a viewfinder frame drop issue on the Xiaomi 17 series. I encountered it on both the 17 Pro and 17 Ultra. On the Ultra, even though the preview stutters, the recorded footage itself turns out fine. Let's wrap it up. Overall, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra's value proposition has weakened compared to the previous generation. The starting price increased by 500 yuan. Yes, memory prices have gone up, but this is a top-tier flagship with much higher profit margins than mid-range devices. A phone priced at 16,999 yuan in China, roughly 752 pounds in the UK, still starting with just 12 gigabytes of RAM is honestly disappointing. It feels far removed from the aggressively priced high-performance Xiaomi devices I remember. This is reflected in the second-hand market too. Consumers don't seem fully convinced by this year's pricing. The 16 GB plus 5 and 12 GB version is already available for under 6,000 yuan, a drop comparable to the Huawei Pura 80 Ultra. The upside? At that lower price, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra suddenly becomes excellent value. Its biggest selling point is the zoom lens. But in reality, the marketing impact feels stronger than the actual image quality difference compared to competitors. If you genuinely love Xiaomi and are passionate about mobile photography, buying a used one at the current discounted price makes a lot of sense. That's it for today's video. I'll see you next time. Bye.